final hour. We will definitely sprinkle in some great college football, some great baseball from last night, and there's some monster series of Major League Baseball coming up this weekend. As always on Football Friday, your calls nonstop for 3 glorious hours. 800-668-633646. And I think there are, and we're going to do it in this radio, 3 important levels to the ball game from last night. Tua Tagovailoa and his concussion. The Bills absolutely dominated the victory. And the core issues here for them, we have to start with it. And I'm sick for him and for the Dolphins and for his family. And I just want Tua to be okay. Tua Tagovailoa left the Dolphins lost to the Bills after he suffered his third diagnosis. Stress that diagnosis is down.
Looks like it's still 100 times better. So easy. It's just fucked up.
Because what makes this different than any other injury, we talk about guys, Slayer talks about 13 knee surgeries and stuff like that. We will find a guy going down with that, right? We talk about guys turning ACL, multiple times keep coming back and all that stuff. But what makes this different is we can't really see the brain. We can't measure the damage, the long-term damage. A lot of guys, we're retired, we gotta get hips replaced, we gotta get knees replaced and all that type of stuff. We're willing to do that. But those are things that directly impact your life. You know what I mean? Like CTE, LS, and all those things. Right? So like you said, you got to get all the information. Really have protocol, of course, right? Eventually you can do it. But sometimes as players we feel indebted when we can take long-term contracts to a team that just gave us $55 million a year. That's life-changing money. And yes, if he retires, he'll get certain of those guarantees. But that's something that has to be considered as well, because if you tell somebody, hey, would you risk this for $55 million a year? A lot of people in America would say yes, right?
Because they can't promise me it's going to happen. Right. You can't tell me right now if football worked this way, right? If a doctor could walk into Tua Tagovailoa and say, hey, when you're 42, this is going to happen based on what we see. Right. That's different, but that's not how the conversation happens. He's going to pass protocol. He's going to have an opportunity to play, have an opportunity to continue to build generational wealth, and just do something he loves. Because nothing in the
Look
world
at that.
outside of family is ever going to make Tua Tagovailoa feel when he throws touchdowns.
Look at that garbage.
Because when he got up, he probably felt okay, bro.
It's the biggest drug ever. You know what I mean? It's the biggest dopamine adrenaline rush you can ever get is playing in front of 80,000 people living your dream out. You know, and when people named after Luke Gary. Luke Gary played baseball. He's not playing contact sport. He's banging his head up. Like, some people react to concussions differently. Some guys can have a lot of them and be fine. Some of them can not have any and have, you know, trauma later. I mean, it's a personal decision that he's going to have to make.
You shared something earlier this morning that I would never ask you to share. Candidly, none of us knew it, but you just shared it this morning. And for the audience joining us here, that this actually contributed to your retirement.
Yeah, I mean, because I was a big hitter, and, you know, I had the total reconstruction of my big toe, but that wasn't the reason. I had every intention of coming back and playing football. It was the first time I went, you know, 210 games without 280 some games without missing a practice or game. But it was because I started seeing spots. I started having sensitivity to light, where if I, like this light before, I would have to go lay down and close my eyes and wait for a couple minutes before I could see it again. You know, so I was a big kid at that time. I was 32 years old and never been diagnosed with a concussion ever in my life. But, you know, man, and Ryan were hitters, right? So did it happen? Probably. Was it diagnosed? Probably not, right? So, you know, we live in a different time where now we have different information. We have information now. We know what the long-term quality was, and now Tua has something to weigh in on that. You know, that maybe we didn't have early in his career. That's a family and a wife. Yeah, depend on you. And they much rather have you as the father than see you deteriorate as the football player.
These are conversations I've had with Merrill Hodge in great detail, and Steve Young in great detail. And these are players who have faced these decisions in the past. Obviously, first and foremost, the long-term and short-term health of Tua Tagovailoa is the most important part of it. For the purposes of a football conversation, however, Mike Tannenbaum, you were a general manager in two places, including there in Miami once upon a time. They have the remainder of their season in front of them. They have 15 more games.
So the tire that he needs to
going on to their
get stolen.
Yeah, I think I'll likely control let's put Tua on IR. And that accomplishes a few things. All these conversations were critically important. The care he needs. It takes the pressure off because now he's ineligible to play for 4 weeks. So Coach McDaniel is a question. He is ineligible for a minimum of 4 weeks. It creates a roster spot. So now, as we're talking to the organization, hey, we still have 15 games left, and all that remains is questions about quarterback being Green Bay, Pittsburgh, amongst others. So we're going to go get a quarterback. Ironically, I would suggest Ryan Tannehill, someone that's been there. He's played good football. He's obviously familiar with the organization. And then maybe a trade. And we have a long way to go, guys. There's going to be a lot of injuries. So we can love Tua, we can support him without compartmentalizing. We have a game to play in a week and a half in Seattle. And both those things can be true. But Greeny,
Where are you going, dude? There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go, dude.
Takes the pressure off, and I've been there. So all these conversations are happening between the coaches, the players, ownership, and by at least saying for 4 weeks he can't play, it just takes the pressure off. But we'll see if that's what they want to do today. They take all the things there last night. They're trying to sort of play with things. Soon, in the meantime, on this football Friday, Kansas 7 games that are still coming up this weekend. Maybe the biggest of them in Kansas City is Mahomes versus Burrow, and the fans are looking forward to more out there. We'll ask the guys what they think. Plus, Cowboys and Saints, an interesting game. Shenanigans both without upset. And the Cowboys come to watch. We'll talk about that game. We're going to get on
Before your team takes the field, get game day ready anywhere, anytime with Sirius XM's 10-game packages.
They always work.
So it's a run during the game with an amplified end zone celebrations. The 200 extra channels always available on the Sirius XM app.
what do you think about turn back the clock? I know you're talking about
It's kind of similar. That's nature's law. It's fine. Talking a miracle. It's not the same. Dr. Marty is not a million dollar parents right now. Yeah, this goes from once. Nature's law is designed to support the dark side of things. The side, dark side, stretches out. And it's a conservative side.
UFC 306, Noche UFC this weekend. And Joe, as always, brought to us by Robert Half. 9 of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring today. Robert Half is here to help. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today. We spent earlier in the week fighting with Joe about spending too much time in and around his cubicle at the Vegas East Studios in Bristol, Connecticut. So today we will be somewhat serious, I guess, with Joe. I am actually fascinated, Joe. You are going to be at an absolutely historic event at the Sphere in Vegas with UFC. Explain what's going on, why it's historic, and why this has a chance to be really a trend-setting moment in sports at the Sphere coming up this weekend.
Great to be with you guys as always. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Dana White, the president of UFC, was at the Sphere for one of the U2 shows, which were the original shows that were at the Sphere before some other bands like Fish and Dead & Company got in there. And it was just, it blew his mind. Like it blows everybody's mind. I mean, if you haven't seen what this thing looks like yet, Google it, you'll see some videos, you'll see pictures on the outside. It rises like the Death Star out of the southern Nevada desert. So he's in there, he wants to figure out how do we put on events inside this building, and they get something done, and it's going to be this weekend. The thing is, it's probably never going to happen here again because it is so expensive. John Hannes, the lead play-by-play voice for the UFC, joined us on the radio show last week. He said not only is so much of the state lit that he's not even being given access to a lot of what the production value is going to be to this thing, the dry rehearsal cost $1 million to do. So this is so far away outside the usual budget for them. It's going to be wild. Each fight is apparently going to be taking place in a different world. The walkouts are going to be something we've never seen before. The movies that are going to be playing in between fights, it's all owed to Mexican fighting heritage because this is the big Mexican Independence Weekend, and that's why they're calling it Riyadh Season UFC Noche, or Noche UFC, excuse me. Big weekend.
Sounds like that's going to be awesome, Joe. I can't wait to watch that. But we're going to put our eyes toward the Week 2 NFL slate. And Joe, I wanted to ask you because there's always this space between Weeks 1 and Week 2 where there are things that we know, there are things that we don't know, and things that we think we know that just aren't so. Can you point to an example in the Week 2 slate where public sentiment and the line might not necessarily be the right way to go when you start to look at some of these games?
Excellent question. This is one of the best weeks for professional bettors when it comes to NFL betting because of the overreactions that take place in Week 1, and then as a result, how those overreactions factor into the pricing. Think about it. We wait 4 or 5 months for these games to be played, and then they're played, and we have this one data point, and we're so hungry for football that we just overreact to everything. And it doesn't make every position wrong. It just means we are, in fact, overreacting to everything. It's what we do. We love this sport. So we're going to talk about it. We're excited about it. The thing is, those overreactions can create value going the other way, which is why it's important to keep an eye on a few things. There's a few games I'm going to throw out there this week that I think you should be very careful of. I'm going to start with Green Bay. Jordan Love goes down. Anthony Richardson puts up huge numbers against Houston in a loss. Everyone in the public is going to want to play Indianapolis. Well, what do we miss, Batman? Why did this game open Green Bay plus 3.5, and now it's down to 2.5? It moved right through the key number. That's a significant move. I want you to look at it like this. Willie Collins, yeah, he wasn't very good in Tennessee. Under coaching staff, that got fired. Once, somehow, some way, Matt LaFleur gets more out of him. I want you to think about that. I also want you to realize that for as many big plays as Richardson put up in Week 1, we also had a lot of head scratching plays. And Jonathan Taylor only averaged 3 yards per carry. You're going to go on the run, you're going to go on the road, we're going to need some consistency in the running game there. And be very careful playing the Indianapolis Colts. I think another one that people are going to want to stay away from, the New York Giants. They look terrible. Everyone thinks they're the worst team in the NFL. I buy it this weekend. Underdog on the road against Washington. What did Washington do in Week 1? They got blown out by Tampa, who, by the way, Tampa's not very good. They'll probably get blown out by Detroit this weekend, as Detroit puts it all over a defense that's down at least 3 starters, from what I understand. All right, but because Tampa blows out Washington, everyone thinks they're good. They're not good. They're an average team at best. And Washington's not very good at all. This is a rookie quarterback. It's going to take time, but their defense has shredded, and their offense was wildly inconsistent. But terrible, don't get me wrong. I just think the price is off for the Giants to win this game, so I would look to New York there. Those are some of the ones that jump out to me. I also like the Seahawks. That's just because I think Seattle was undervalued coming into the season, and they pushed on the spread of 6 last week against Denver because the Broncos had a packed touchdown late to make that game look closer than it was. It wasn't that close. I think Seattle gets up on New England, and New England's in a position where they can't play from behind. They're not built to play like that. That's what Cincinnati, they were leading the whole way, but they put the line against Seattle. Seattle couldn't finish that defense. So Seattle was that I would say. I did play Green Bay and Coastal game, but I was going to buy 6.5. You can look at Dallas. I like the Giants. There's some on the Joe Fortenbaugh menu this week.
Well, Joe, what is on the Joe Fortenbaugh menu as far as college football games go? What plays do you like on the slate for college football?
A lot of golf this week, Small. A lot of golf. Florida +3, Texas A&M. DJ Lagway did get more time at quarterback in this matchup. He's a dual threat. That's big.
Hello.
Because Florida's offensive line is problematic.
Oh, thanks. Germany, Berlin. Greetings. I have not been to Germany, I have to admit, even though I was in the service. Actually, Universal Studios has a part of the Berlin Wall on display. That's what they say. Universal Studios, Florida. I've seen it. I don't know that much about it. Are you working? I figure still work hours in Germany, but I don't know the work schedule in Germany. I guess it's Monday through Friday, like at least a lot of the world. Ford, Mazda, Infiniti, Honda, Tucson. There's a lot of Tucsons. A lot of white Tucsons. Trying to speed limit. Older Kia. That is not a good place to stop on the road. That is very dangerous. You stopped in the middle of the road, dude. You stopped in the middle of the road. That dude just stopped in the middle of the road. At least pull into that opening. They pull into it like right here. Stopped in the middle of the road. What kind of BS is that? Completely dangerous. community. Bye everyone. I'm Oric. Have a good day.